I just have a very simple question to ask. Why do people hesitate to buy antiques or collectible? And it is because it just takes too much time and effort to become an expert. Now, what if we can eliminate that pain so simply by simply scanning a tag and having the transparency, having all the information show up? And you add to that ease of use, and then you add to that trust. Welcome to the world of PiggyTag. We have created a suite of tools for the professional collector, starting with scanning tags and creating tags by taking a photograph and transferring and tracking that tag through its lifetime. And also the inventory management. Let me just give you a little example here. This is the app, and here is my collection. I carry this all around where I go. Right here, it's a little stalling a little bit. Here I can open up, and if you open up one of these, this is an example of what a tag will look like. And here I can scroll down. Now, we have a web version of this with just a little bit more robust tools. Now, but that's not even the most exciting stuff. Imagine you have just inherited this lovely painting from your grandmother, who says it's from a very famous Romanian artist. O grămadă de bani! O grămadă de bani! And so you want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. So you take out your PiggyTag app and you create a tag just like this, really easy. Just add a few categories, click appraise it, and instantly you will have several appraisers who can give you a price estimate on demand. Interestingly, this kind of mobile app does not exist in a $64 billion market. Now, if you look here, most of the innovation, that's in e-commerce. But if you look at how most of the sales is done, it's done offline, no technology. But 3/4 of these people have smartphones, and only a sliver is using it to collect. Now, this is why this sector, I know they're a laggard sector, but it's beginning to explode. And that is why Christie's just purchased Collectrium for $16 million back last October. Now, what they're charging, $90 a month, we're giving it away for free. Now, why is that? Because we believe that there's a lot more opportunity downstream. And thus we have an open model versus our closed model. And let me explain to you very simply. Once you've created your tag, what's the most important thing? How do I know if it's true or false? And therefore, we went to great lengths to create what we call the reputational blockchain. And let me just tell you how it works. Owner 1 creates the tag and sells it to Owner 2 along with the product. Owner 2 sees that if there is not much written on it, so he asks a specialist to write up something, and he gets it validated and by a certified expert, and the score goes up to 105, and he sells it to Owner 3 for double the price, and Owner 3 takes it to a master and gets it inspected, and now that item has tripled in value. Welcome to the fun of collecting. And it is thanks to people like Monsieur Le Tessier where we have focused our business model, our USP. And the reason why, and this is the accreditation platform, and the reason why is because his knowledge, even though he might work for Sotheby's, it's not being monetized properly today. And it's not even him. There's hundreds and thousands of passionate experts who are not getting a dime for their knowledge. And why do we need this? Let me just give you a use case scenario with eBay. eBay currently has very hard time selling high expensive items, and the reason why is because they don't have a tagging system. The information is gone once you sold the product. And also their accreditation system is based on owner and seller, not necessarily the product itself. We are the missing link. Now, we have landed Tajan, which is the 5th largest auction house in the world, and we have the CNES, which is the largest network of experts in France. We won the FACE startup competition, which is European-wide, and we are currently at Pepiniere 27, which is an incubator. We have raised 30,000 in seed, and we are waiting on another 30,000 from BPI France. Now, for this past year, we've been busy. We've collected over 100 quality clients, and this traction rate is much better than what Collectrium is doing today. And these are the smart guys who are getting the job done. And we're looking for $300,000 to take our product to the next level and to really monetize. And so many of us here have something in the attic that we know is valuable and want to get rid of. And the problem is that with PiggyTag, we have transparency, ease of use, and trust. Now we can easily imagine this sector expanding beyond 100 billion because now there is an economic incentive to want to collect things like a vintage product instead of buying things and consuming things like IKEA. And that is our strategy for sustainability. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
Hi, I'm not sure I got it.
Okay.
So I have a few questions, maybe or qualifying questions.
Yes.
So, are you able to sell items through the platform, or are you just for appraisal?
Okay, in the beginning, no. And the reason why is that we want to focus on the appraisals because our clients are auction houses and they use our application to source products. And so it would be a conflict, but the way the market works right now, there are auction houses and there are private sales. And private sales is expert as the intermediary. And we would become the platform for the private sales, but right now we do not want to threaten or have conflicts with the auction houses that we're currently working with.
Got it. So, last question
Yes.
of mine. So, okay. What sort of transactions have already passed through the system, and how you're able to source people who appraise these and people who would like to actually get an appraisal? Like, what's the strategy?
Yeah, exactly. Our strategy was to create first our 1.0, this is what we call our 1.0 first version, was to create just the asset management system and give it away for free to test it, to see. And we've learned a lot over this past year. Our business model has changed quite a bit as we understand the industry. And for example, we thought we were going to go low end and go to the trinket shops. But in reality, it's actually the high end that needs this. And even though it's a big segment, they are the bigger influencers. And so this is why we're not monetizing yet. What we're doing is getting content up so that when people search for like items, they will most likely through SEOs land upon one of our pages.
So just to clarify again, so what you're doing now is basically a marketplace that connects collectors with appraisers to be able to ensure you get the right price, and then the collector will put up the product on something like eBay,
Exactly.
and there'll be a verification tag saying this has been verified by PiggyTag.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, that's pretty much it.
And when you said reputational or whatever it was, blockchain, is
Yes.
it actually blockchain based, or is that an
We don't need it to be blockchain. Blockchain is an algorithmic one, but since this is based on people who can cross-check, these are actual people who are on it, we don't really need an algorithm, but the algorithm part we don't think is very difficult. What is more difficult is making sure that the starring system, the feedback system, is just working properly, and that's our job to maintain that.
Okay, that makes sense. What it means is that everyone has to trust PiggyTag, basically.
In the beginning, no one trusts PiggyTag. It's just that I think the trust will accumulate as more tags are put up and there's more appraisals and there's more feedback. And so the reputational blockchain right now, it's not really functioning. This is what we want to get going, and we need more content up, a little bit more content up, so that people find us. We also need a better app, and this is why we're asking for the 300,000 at the moment.
Why don't you make it trustless like using a real blockchain?
It's just we can't, but we can't. But it's just like it's not necessary. But we can. That's not the most difficult part to go pure blockchain because that's algorithmic based. Here we have people who have put their reputations, their photos will show up on the tag, and so we know who validated it. You can check that.
So the experts who validate the items, they have to physically do that, examine them, or?
No, that we have several categories, and there are physical examinations, which are the higher levels, but it's probably, they get paid per word to write about it, and they get validated. So they can validate it, write on it, or physically inspect it.
So if that's the case, who caters for the logistics, which are, especially if you're talking about high end, which are probably quite complex, like insuring these items, and yeah, well.
Yes, that's why it's reputational. That's why there's got to be a feedback from the person who's the collector. So he rates and say this inspection we thought was way off, and he asks other experts to cross-check. And in fact, in this field, you have many conflicting opinions, and so those conflicting opinions sometimes create what is interesting. And this is, but overall, the reputation of each one is validated by the collector themselves, who paid for an inspection.
Okay, I know I'm getting hungry, so.
Oh yeah, let's give him a hand.